let this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. Get your lick back. If a nigga owe you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your issue splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX.
J-Way.
I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless.
I'm gone.
Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck.
Give me that.
To the trends. See a lead, be the band.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Corner to Copa. We got a special guest in the building. He's going to help me run the show today because Coach is a little under the weather, been umping games outside and dealing with the elements, but we definitely going to rock out. How you doing today, June?
I'm good, man. You can just call me assistant coach today.
Okay, you're assistant coach. Okay.
I'm not the Tigers regular correspondent, but hey, I'm here. I'm here with Foster, so we're gonna work this thing out.
Absolutely. The Tigers are actually wrapping up the road trip right now. They are beating the tar out of the Angels right now. We're up 11-1 in I think we're going into the 8th inning now, but the name of the game in that series has been power.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of home runs to go around. A nice bounce back after a tough opening series out in Houston where we lost 2 of 3. The main takeaway I got from that is, our pitching definitely struggled a little bit. That's one of our strengths, but we also had some defensive blunders that kind of held us back a little bit, which hasn't been, super common, but Trey Sweeney had a couple errors. They've been kind of jumping all over Jack Flaherty as well, as good as he's been. But like I said, we've bounced back in the Angel series. We're about to take 3 or 4. A lot of late inning heroics. I think the night of the Pistons game, when I actually got home from the Pistons game, I think we were down 4-2, 2-4, however you want to say it. And we had an explosion of about 8 runs, win that game 10-4.
Mm-hmm.
The game after that, game 2, similar situation. We're down 1-0. Trey Sweeney hits a home run in the 8th inning, I believe. And then the 9th inning hits where, it's tied 1-1. More of an offensive explosion. Riley Green hits 2 home runs in one inning, in the 9th inning at that, but in one inning. First Tiger to have 2 in 1 inning since Maglio Ordonez, and the first ever to have 2 home runs in the 9th inning. But yeah, a lot of home runs to go by. Javi's hit 3 in a row. Had hit 3 home runs in a row. Talked about Riley Green and Sweeney. Sweeney had hit 1 in game 2, and then he hit a home run today as well. So he's out of a slump. And also, I cannot forget Colt Keith. Colt Keith has been on fire as well. But just in a whole, I don't know. I don't know how many games you got a chance to watch or how much, but what have been your impressions of the Tigers so far?
You talking about this last away stand or as the season as a whole?
Either or both. It's up to you.
Well, first off, I'll start off with the season. From what I've been seeing is that the Tigers have been going in, and when they're playing these teams, they're winning the majority of the series, right?
For sure.
The key, and I think it's always been key, and this hasn't changed. There's a lot of managers that think like this. I certainly, for one, follow this. But the key is to winning the series. When you play a 3 or 4 game a series versus a team, you want to get 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4. You know what I'm saying? It's, a sweep is definitely the goal, but it's not realistic to sweep every team. But whether you're on the road or whether you're at home, is to win the series. And the Tigers have done that majority of the season. And that's considering starting off 0-3 versus the Dodgers. You know, you didn't win that series, but they came back to win other series. But the series that they're losing, I think the 3, that was versus the Dodgers versus the Brewers, and just now versus Houston, where they seemed to lose it. But the only one they got swept was the first series, and that was versus the Dodgers. So that's why you have such a good record right now with the Tigers. I think it's 21-12, I believe, is the record.
Yeah, it's funny. I already wrote 22, but yeah, at this current moment,
It's going to be 22-12. But and this is a good sample size. I remember Coach saying, you know, he's going to wait about 30 games to give them, you know, and that'll give you a good sample size of how the Tigers are doing. And right now it's 13-1, and and this is a good sample size to go to see where your team is now. Lately, this last road series, if you watch the first 2 games versus Houston, they played very uncharacteristically like themselves the whole season. Those first 2 games were nothing like a reflection of how they've been playing all season. So watching those first 2 games, which I did, they didn't look anything like the team that had been winning or playing well this season. So I knew something was awry. But they held tight for their third game, and they won, and then they walk into this series versus the Angels, and here we are. They're going to win 3 out of 4, and the bats, the bats and the pitching are clicking at the same time. Last night's game 5-2, I believe. Just one of those games where they just, you know, they gave up some runs and couldn't produce, but that's not a problem today. With 13-1 in the ninth, and I'm thinking when you're the Angels in this instance, you just want to get out of there. You want to go on to the next set of games, because it's a long season. It's a long season, and you know you're down 13-1 versus the best team in the American League. So just get out of there, man. And, you lay down. Go ahead and take your swipes, but this one's over, baby.
Yeah. This one's definitely over. The bats. I mean, it's crazy to see how well Javi's turned things around. I can't speak enough about Javi and the unselfish acts that he's, because people have been calling for his job for a couple years now. It's pretty obvious he's been hurt at least for the last year, because you've seen the athleticism, his defensive ability, his bat has gotten back to, nearly where you would expect it to be. And, at the age of 32, the fact that he decided that he was going to take on the role of playing utility, playing third, and playing amazing center field. Like, center field is one of those premium positions that everybody can't play that. Like, you don't just pick up and glove and
can't just put any outfielder out there. Right. You got to have somebody that can play center to play center field. That's the person that calls the defense, and
right.
That and in a stadium that big, you have to be you got to have some wheels too.
So here's the thing. Yes, Comerica is a very big, is a very big outfield, but at least you're familiar with Comerica Park. You play there every day. Yeah. He's going into road parks. He's in LA. He robbed a home run earlier this week. Like, that's not easy to do. No. The walls are set up where if it gets over that yellow line, there's a wall directly behind it. So you have to catch it before it hits caroms off the wall. Otherwise, it's automatically a home run. Mm-hmm. And like I said, he's 32 years old, and he really, if he wanted to, could just kind of skate off into the sunset. If you want to cut me, I'm going to make my 30 million regardless. And they've always said, regardless of how bad he's played, he's always been a good clubhouse guy. He's always been the ultimate teammate. And it's pretty obvious now, because this guy, he stepped in and played a very important role. And I don't know if you take him out of center field when Vierling and Meadows, well, when Meadows comes back, he's pretty much got that locked in if he's in any way in the shape to do it. But when Vierling comes back, I'm not sure that you immediately take Javi out of there, because I really feel like playing center field has given him a jolt of some type of energy. It's funny because they were kind of talking about how you, as a center fielder, when you're leading off an inning after playing defense, you gotta haul ass 300 feet from center field to the dugout in order to even get ready for the at bat. If you're leading off, like you're out of breath by the time you get back to the dugout and ready to hit. So, for an older guy, quote unquote older guy like Javi, like that's a chore in itself. But yeah, it's great to see him. He literally just had an RBI double. Damn, they're just still laying it on him.
Bases loaded.
Yeah. But yeah, watch out. We've seen Riley Green. He's officially out of his slump. Like I said, he's hit a couple home runs on the road trip. Colt Keith, who struggled early, he lost his first base job to Torkelson earlier in the year, but he's been swinging a hot bat. And Trey Sweeney, he was one of the guys that I thought that could possibly get sent down, push come to shove, but you'd be hard pressed to do that at this current moment, because he's been coming up in some pretty clutch situations. But any other thoughts? Oh, one thing that you remind me, I keep throwing out of my mind that we got swept in LA. Like, we've been playing so well, and we've been on such a clean track as of late that I completely thrown out of my mind the fact that we did start out the season struggling against the LA Dodgers. So
and I don't think it was a struggle. I think
it wasn't. I really said the wrong word there.
The first two games we were winning in the later in the later innings, and the bullpen kind of let us down. But it was the beginning of the season. You gotta and that's an all-star lineup as far as those bats over there. So it was going to be a challenge, and we knew after that series we were not discouraged as fans watching it. To start off 0-3, it's a lot of baseball left, and we knew it, and we were faced with the test of the World Series champs, and that
and Ice Cube yeah. in a lowrider.
Yeah, and that ball club. I mean, it's like they got a roster, and it's an empty checkbook. It's an empty check. You know what I'm saying? It's full of bats. You know what I'm saying? So to play as well as they did, I wasn't discouraged by watching them, and I said, you know what? Let's just wait and see. In that next series, they showed who they were, and I'm very. What I like about this lineup that they have is you can get contributions from anybody,
literally,
and it's like there's not you think you expect to by now to get it from Torkelson and Riley Green, but you'll see was McKinstry or whatever, however you say his name, he'll contribute. Keith contributes. Sweeney. It just depends. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to depend on one person. It seemed like the timely hitting can come from anywhere in the lineup. So
absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, honestly, we knew that there was a couple guys that we needed to step up this year, but they hadn't really proved that they could contribute for a full season of work. So that was the question mark. Even guys like Torkelson, it's hard to believe, but that guy was on his last leg in Detroit at the beginning of spring training. So to see him have such a hot start to the year, like, that's been massive. And I just get excited. This parlays into the next thing we're going to talk about on the break, after the break, but we've got help on the way. We've got guys that have been on the injured list for, since the beginning of the year, guys that have, played a little bit and went on the injured list. So it's really only going to get better. But yeah, we're going to get to the break and then we're going to talk injuries. All right. So we have an injury report. We have a couple guys that are on rehabilitations stints right now in AAA. Well, for one, Bo Brisky was on the injury list. He actually, I think, is pitching right now, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, he's not pitching right now, but he was pitching earlier today. But he has replaced what is his name? Tyler Owens, I believe it was. But yeah, so he spent a little bit of time on the injury list, but he is back. Brebbia is one of the pitchers. He's been out. I can't remember. Oh, tricep. He had a tricep injury. He's on a rehab stint in Toledo right now. Matt Vierling, a player that a very actually a pivotal player to our team who played. He played all over outfield. He played third base last year, and he also played a tiny bit of first base. He is on a rehabilitation stint as well. He's missed the entire year. Actually, he's missed most of spring training as well. So he is on his way. He is on his way back. We should probably see him on the upcoming homestand, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, he's physically healthy. They're just getting him back up to speed. Didn't fare very well in his first rehab game. I think he went 0 for 3 or 0 for 1 with 2 walks in his first game. Also, Manuel Margot, a player that we went out and got at the conclusion of spring training to give us some depth in the outfield. He had an injured patellar tendon, if I'm not mistaken. Is that in your leg?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah.
Your kneecap, basically.
Got you. Okay. So he played about, I don't know, a series or two, and I think he was hitting over 300, but he eventually went on the injury list, and he's been out for the last month. He has also been in Toledo. He's been in Toledo for like a week now. But we'll have to see who gets sent back down in the when these guys are ready to return. But lastly, Jake Rogers, who has been dealing with an oblique strain, he actually traveled on the West Coast with the team. He isn't ready yet to come back, but he is another guy that I would expect to see on this upcoming homestand because once you start traveling with the team, you're well on your way to coming back. But that is pretty much everything we have as far as injuries are concerned. Oh, last roster thing to touch on, Kenta Maeda. I hate that coach isn't here. He was, and the ultimate, I don't want to say hater of Kenta Maeda, but
we know coach though.
Yeah. He's been waiting for Maeda to get his papers, and he finally has. He's a veteran pitcher that was in the starting pitching lineup last year. He eventually got sent to the bullpen and was nearly unpitchable in any type of leverage situation. They held on to him as long as they could because he is making a ton of money. He's probably one of the higher paid players in the team outside of Baez and outside of, I think he's making more than Cole Keith, who signed a nice little deal too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they've been holding on to him for as long as possible, not wanting to just eat that contract. And he had a great spring, so there was some hope. I teased coach. I was like, I don't know, he's pitching well. He might be. Sure enough, he makes the team as a middle reliever, but essentially he's only good in games where we're either getting blown out or blowing another team out. So he was kind of a waste of a roster spot. And they finally DFA'd him because it got to the point to where, you're holding a spot for that a well-deserved relief pitcher could be, could be holding on to. So it just made the most sense at this point. He's in the last year of his deal. Either way, you got to pay him, whether he's playing and hurting the team or not playing and, going on with his merry way. So they decided to cut their losses and cut Mr. Maeda. And, I'm sure coach threw a party somewhere because it was he's been waiting for that. But yeah, that is the injuries and corresponding roster moves. Next, we're going to talk about the minor leagues. As a lot of you already know, the Detroit Tigers have the I think we have the #1 farm system in all of baseball.
There was a time when the farm league from the Tigers were pretty much a joke. And yeah, I mean,
Not too long ago.
it wasn't that long ago. And we were looking at farm leagues like the Cardinals and I think it was another the Yankees, and it was a couple of other teams that had really, really good farm systems, but the Tigers did not have it. So it's good to see. It's good to see.
Absolutely. So you can imagine that it's pretty tough to follow the farm system and find the highlighted players that are doing well. I meant to actually post the graphic of our the batting average leaders. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get that up there by the end of the day. But yeah, so we got a lot of guys to talk about that are doing well at the minor league level. One being Max Anderson, who's having a very good start to the year. This is a player that was drafted in the 2nd round in 2023, so not too long ago. He's 23 years old and he's in AA, and right now he's hitting .326 with 5 home runs and 21 RBIs. This is a guy that we've been kind of waiting on to kind of have that breakout season. Because he has started so slow, but definitely off to a good start so far this year. But outside of that, a lot of guys. Max Clark is doing well. He's one of our top 5 prospects. He actually had a 4-hit game not too long ago. Outside of that, you got Justice Bigby, who continues to play well. Seth Stevenson's hitting .310. Brett Callahan's hitting .300. And just as recently as yesterday, Akil Baddoo, one of the fan favorites who has been up and down from AAA in the major leagues the last few years, he actually hit 2 home runs at the AAA level before the 4th inning was completed. He's a guy that he's always had a high ceiling. He's a big, strong guy. He hits for power, but he's never been able to put things together outside of the one rookie year where he went on a bit of a Jeremy Lin type run. He hasn't been able to continue that success on a consistent level, but he's always a guy that when he hits well for even just a couple of games, you always see guys in the comments like, bring Baddoo back up. But yeah, he's been mashing the ball lately. And outside of that, Josue Briseño continues to hit for a lot of power. And our #1 pick from last year, Bryce Ranier, he doesn't have big numbers that jump out at you, but as far as his a lot of the advanced analytics and his exit velocity stats, I mean, he's been hitting the ball very hard to all fields, which is very exciting. Obviously, he's a long way from being in the major leagues. He got drafted out of high school, so I want to say he's 19, 20 years old. But always exciting to see some of your young players playing well, because the future is bright. When you start talking about Max Clark, Kevin McGonigal, Bryce Ranier, we got a gluttony of young players, and unfortunately, they all hit left-handed for the most part. So,
wow.
Yeah, a vast. I don't know if it's just by if Scott Harris has a thing for left-handed hitters or if
Mhm.
it's just by coincidence. But yeah, we have I mean, even in the major leagues right now, you got Carpenter, you got Green, you got Colt Keith, you got um you got a lot of guys that hit left-handed. Even Jace Young is left-handed as well, which has been part of our concerns going into the year. Which have McKinstry's left-handed, but yeah, it's our concern going into the year was, um, are we going to be able to get some power from the right-handed side? And luckily, we have. Javi's been playing well. Torkelson's been playing great. Um, who else has been hitting from the right-handed side? Oh, Dylan Dingler, the catcher.
Yeah.
But those are a lot. But honestly, a lot of those guys were guys that were really bad last year. Torkelson was not good last year. Dingler was fresh up from AAA and still kind of going through the motions. Gleyber Torres was a free agent pickup. He wasn't even on the team. So it was very one-sided. It certainly didn't help that Vierling was injured early in the year as well. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun so far this year. The team just plays the team just plays the game the right way. They make all even like the little plays, the little stuff that people don't really appreciate. We handle that part of the game as well. And you got to attribute that to good coaching because this is a young team. This is a very, I think I saw that we're the fourth youngest team that we have, or no, was that the Pistons? That might be the Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where the Tigers are at. The Tigers are a very young team too. We don't have a ton of older players, so the Tigers might have the fourth youngest team as well. But yeah, so that's all I have for Around the Farm. We're gonna take the next break and see what's next.
It's official. We have a final. Tigers win 13-1.
Wow.
And take 3 out of 4 from the Angels.
All right.
I remember not wasn't too long ago when Angels was just whooping our butt every time we played them. It wasn't that long ago.
Angels have had some good teams. It obviously doesn't help that Mike Trout, their superstar talent, who's been plagued with injuries for a lot of the second half of his career. Doesn't help that he was hurt, but I don't think Mike Trout could have saved him from giving up 10, 9, and 13.
He could have did. Like if you put Mike Trout in today's lineup, the score might have been 13-4. Let's say it counts for 3 runs, which is a great game for him. Right. Yeah.
He's certainly not pitching, and maybe in his heyday he would have been able to rob a couple of those home runs. But we've had a lot of no doubters, ones that you're not catching that unless your outfielders standing 400 feet in the.
Yeah, unless you have center field blimp or right field blimp or left field blimp, something like that. Some of those homers been, you're just standing up and watching it go.
Right. Yeah. Not even the ones where the outfielder doesn't even move. Like he doesn't even make a play on the ball because it's just so far gone. So, but yeah, with that said, all the runs that we've been scoring, we are on our way to Colorado for the last trip, or the last stop on our road trip before we go back home. And they are having an historically bad year. And when you want to talk about giving up runs in that thin air of
small stadium too, right?
You know what? It's crazy. The stadium is not small.
Okay.
I think it was designed like that
it's homer friendly though.
Homer friendly because of the thin air.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you would think that the stadium was small, but nah, it's actually a decent sized stadium. It's just the thin air. And AJ Hinch has been, has pretty much given everybody or most players a day off in preparation for the thin air. So you saw guys like Javi who hit like with a home run in 3 straight games, and we're like, why is he not? Playing today? But he's pretty much been giving everybody a day off because it is such a shock to your body when you go to a place like that. And I've personally never been in high altitude. Do you have any experience in places like that?
No, not really.
Okay. I know you're well traveled. You've been all over the place,
No,
stuff like that. So I would think that,
no,
maybe.
no.
Yeah. So yeah, that I got to get out to I got to get out to Colorado. That would be. I hear that Denver is beautiful, especially even in the in the summertime. It gets warm out there, just like it gets warm everywhere else. But
Everybody that I know have visited Denver actually loves it,
yeah, yeah.
especially during the warmer weather months because they get some winter out there.
Oh yeah, big time.
But summer, spring, they say Denver's beautiful. So
Absolutely. So yeah, the Colorado Rockies are 6-28 at this current juncture. They are struggling. I've seen the Tigers struggle, but I've said I've described them as struggling a little bit this year. But you got to find a new word when you're that bad. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
when I see a team like that, I honestly start thinking they're due for a couple of wins. So my alert is my guard is up. It's like don't go in there playing. You know what I'm saying? That a win versus a series win versus the Tigers right now can boost your ball club. Like they could. I mean, although they're 6-28, you take 2 out of the 3 from Tigers, you got something to build on as far as the locker room and anything else. But they're just due for some wins. The Tigers need to go in there and handle business. I want a sweep though. Go ahead and get a sweep. Make up for the losing 2 out of 3. If you get a sweep, it kind of balances the road trip out. You know what I'm saying? So go.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you're playing with professional ball players, I mean, you definitely don't take it lightly. That's kind of the reason why AJ Hinch has given guys a day off because he knows that you got to prepare for them like they're anybody else. We did play them last year at home. Actually, it was in September when we were making a playoff run down the stretch, and I think we beat them 2 out of 3 times, but they actually touched off to Tarek Skubal a little bit.
Yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah. And this is a team that they have some good offensive players. They got a couple guys that are on the injured list, and but
6-28 though.
it's pretty. It's one of those things that, like, in baseball, you start 6-28. It's a little different. Like that's you're not getting up out of that, digging up out of that hole, especially in the NL West. They're in a division with LA and San Diego. It's a pretty tough division. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, it's probably a wrap if you start 6-28. You know what I'm saying? I know it's 162 games, but you got to think you're playing behind the 8 ball the rest of the season, and you're in a division with the Padres and Dodgers. It's like you're not getting up out of that because they're not gonna have that kind of skid.
Right. And they, and then you just play them too much. Like, I don't know how many times they play within their division, but to have to play that many games against the Padres and Dodgers, like, not looking good for you.
Are you going to catch a lot of the Tigers games in person this year?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to warm up, honestly.
Yeah, it's got to warm up some. Have you ever checked out a Toledo Mud Hens game?
No, and I told myself, I actually even said that I would want to go to a West Michigan game because we have so many good young players over there. But no, I've never been to a Toledo Mud Hens game.
Now, where do they play in West Michigan?
It's basically Grand Rapids, but it's
Grand
like
Rapids, okay.
Comstock. I think it's Comstock Park. So it's in the Grand Rapids area.
Yeah, we'll make a trip this summer. We'll go check something out. Toledo's right down the street, so
right. Toledo there's nothing to get to Toledo, but
yeah, we can just pull up, and then it's not very hard to get in the AAA and AA games. You can just go up to the gate and pay for a ticket.
Right, right. No, no, not too much preparation involved.
Nah, no.
So, uh, so yeah, that's the Colorado series, and then we have the homestand starts. We have a day off. I think there's a day off on Monday, and then we start the Colorado series, and then we have a homestand with Texas and Boston.
Mm,
Um, two pretty good teams. Boston is 18-18 right now. That'll be a fun series just because we were chasing after Alex Bregman all summer, and he elected
sucker,
to take. I want to say he ultimately ended up taking less money to go to Boston because he didn't want to
sucker.
go to. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of errors so far this year, which is very uncharacteristic of him, but he is hitting pretty well. Um, all things considered, I think we made the right decision in the end. Team's doing just fine without, I don't want to say mortgaging our future, but investing a ton of money into a guy that, I'm certainly at peace with it now. But they got some good players. They got Devers. They got the pitcher from Chicago, Crochet. Um, they got a lot of guys. They got a guy named Duran, not Duran, but Duran, who's pretty good. Yeah, but that's going to be pretty good series. And then after that, or no, before that, we have the Texas Rangers. They're 17-18, 4 games out of first place in the AL West. And Jace Young's brother actually plays there. Josh Young
Mm.
plays for the Texas Rangers. Um, those are usually pretty. Those are usually pretty competitive series. Who else is on their team? I don't know. I'm not as good with baseball as I am with basketball. I can rattle off, even in football, I can rattle off some names about on any team. But let's look. I'm curious. Oh yeah, Wyatt Langford. Wyatt Langford is a guy
Mhm.
we could have drafted him, but we drafted Max Clark because Scott Harris loves high school players, which it's gonna play out well in the end. But that was a highly scrutinized decision to not draft Wyatt Langford, Corey Seager, Jock Peterson. Yeah, but they're okay. That's why they're in fourth place right now. But yeah, that's the upcoming games. Let's get to our final break and then we'll wrap things up. All right. Actually, let's look at the current AL Central standings to see where we stand. I know we were up 1.5 games on the Guardians. Let's see where we're at now.
Boo.
Right. They must have won today, or did it update yet? Yeah, it did update. So yeah, they must have won today because we're still up 1.5 games on the Guardians. It's actually really interesting with them because they've kind of held on, just right behind us, despite the fact that their run differential is something like negative 24 games. So essentially, although they're well above 500, they've got smoked in a couple games to where they've given up more runs overall than they've scored themselves. It's really weird. I'd have to look and see how many times they got smoked like that to where it's that blatant because they are 6 games above 500. So to have given up more runs than you've scored, it's kind of crazy that you're doing that well. But anything in particular that you're looking forward to coming up over the next week?
Just looking forward to this next homestand. I don't want to count Colorado out though, but it gets kind of interesting after this homestand versus Boston and Texas. You know, Texas is a pretty good ball club. Boston usually is very consistent, so I haven't paid attention to what they've done this year, but I'm pretty sure they're decent at best.
Mhm.
At worst, I'm sorry. So I kind of figure, I'm just ready to see some home games. I mean, playing away is cool, but It's nothing like seeing those white uniforms, you know what I'm saying? The old English uh D pause if applicable, but the old English lettering, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing like it, you know what I'm saying? So um I want to ask you something, right?
Okay.
Because coach talked about the 30 game, he'll give his assessment after 30. What is your assessment thus far? I know you're a little bit more optimistic than coach. I mean, coach is he's the teacher that you hope grades on a curve.
Right.
But how you feeling about the season so far?
I am elated, honestly. There's really not too much that I can say bad about them. And, part of the reason is because we have dealt with so many injuries early in the league. We have, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I think we have had the fourth most players hit the injured list this year. And we're talking about nearly an entire outfield worth of players. I mean, well, entire outfield.
2/3.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter play every day, regardless. But when you start talking about Wenzel Perez, Parker Meadows, who's one of the better outfielders in all of baseball, and a guy like Matt Vierling, who can nearly play every position on the field, like we're talking about some pretty, integral players. So I've been really impressed with for one, just the roster composition. I mean, Jake Rogers has missed about a month yet. We went out and signed a guy, Nito, to a minor league contract in the offseason. You don't think anything of it. Rogers gets hurt, and Nito has pretty much catches about once a week, and he's called some masterful games, a couple good games with Jackson Jobe. He caught another great game for Reese Olson the day we gave up one run the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And he's hit well. He's known for his defense. He's known for calling a good game, but he's hit well as well. We went out and got Manuel Margot, who got hurt pretty quickly, but he stepped right in and played well. So I just think that this team is very, very deep. I was saying to somebody earlier, we're well equipped to make a playoff run and for the future. We're a young team. We're a versatile team. We got guys that can play a number of different positions. We can hit for power. We can manufacture runs going first and third on singles. We just play the game right. And at the end of the day, if you can have a strong pitching staff, a strong bullpen, that's what's important in the playoffs. Throw everything else out. If you can throw out a couple pitchers that can give you, 5 quality innings and some high leverage bullpen guys that can shut the door, you can win it all. So I'm really pleased, and I'm just excited to see for how much better this team can get when we get healthy. So that's a 30-day assessment on my end.
Okay. I think the future is bright. I think there were times where I doubted Hinch, and many before him.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think I haven't had any faith since Leland retired. So it's a good feeling. It's good to see the Tigers be number one. We had no idea how the Tigers looked mid all year last year until that last month of the season when they made that historic run to get into the playoffs and winning the first round versus Houston. So, like I said, we as a Tigers fan, I paid attention to them last year. They win one, lose one, win a couple, lose a couple. It was just, and then they got hot, and then they would lose a couple, and then at the last month of the season, they did what they had to do, and they looked like they belong. That playoff series versus Cleveland is one they very well could have won. We had them on the ropes. We beat Houston, had Cleveland on the ropes, and just didn't finish the job. So, and if you beat Cleveland and you go up against the Yankees, I mean, who knows? Momentum is everything. You have a chance. So yeah, I'm looking for. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it, and because of you and Coach, I'm actually paying attention to Tigers baseball, and it wasn't just because they started winning the last month of the season. I started paying attention to them last year when there wasn't much optimism. It was just it is what it is, and I was just paying attention because you guys were covering. So I want to show. I want to I appreciate you guys for doing all the work because it's not easy following the Tigers for a season. It's 162 games. Now, granted, you may not have gone on after every game, but you were here every freaking week talking about it. Sometimes a couple days out the week. They play just about every day, so you have to be up on it. And you attended a lot of games. I mean, not trying to be funny, but you attended a lot of games, but you rarely missed a game watching it. So shout out to you and Coach for the work you put in covering this stuff.
Yeah, and as the Tigers get back home, I know you had talked about kind of looking forward to the homestand. We are 13-3 at home, so we have, although we're not in a hitter's park, we have hit very well in our on our home field, and don't look now. Right, Riley Green is hot. He always hits well in Comerica Park. Kerry Carpenter. I noticed that they moved him up in the order to the leadoff spot, which isn't you put your power guys in the 3 and 4 hole, but I've been noticing that he hadn't hit very well with runners in scoring position. So it gave him an opportunity to where you take the pressure off him. You're asking him to just get on base. He's been hitting at a high average. He's hitting nearly 300 right now, which is crazy in this day and age because people don't hit for average anymore. But as I speak on him not hitting with runners in scoring position, he had 5 RBIs today, including a home run to straightaway center field. I think it was a 3-run home run. Yeah. Is that a 5? Yeah. I think all of Carpenter's RBIs today were actually 2-out RBIs, which doesn't get much more clutch than that. But he's a player that statistically, although he was injured for about half the season last year with a bad back, he was one of the better and more dangerous hitters in all of baseball in that sample size. If he can continue to be hot, it's going to be dangerous for the league because, for all intents and purposes at this current moment, he's been healthy and yeah, he's looking pretty comfortable in that leadoff spot. I expect him to stay here, stay there for the foreseeable future, unless it's against a lefty. If a lefty is up, they'll probably knock him down to lower in the lineup. But overall, we're looking pretty good. A lot of more ebbs and flows last year, a lot more consistent trajectory so far this year. And we'll just have to see if, see how things progress after as this next series takes off. But yeah, we're gonna wrap up. Please subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube. Where's that graphic, June? I can never find it.
Yeah, it's right here.
Go ahead. Show the people.
Subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube. Not only do we cover the Tigers, I don't cover the Tigers. I'm just standing in here for Coach. He's a little bit under the weather.
Did an excellent job today, by the way.
I can't do what Coach does, but hey, I'm here. I'm just here to support. We cover Pistons, Tigers, Lions. Catch us on Bleachers and Speakers YouTube for all of that, and for all the aggregators. That's anywhere you can hear a podcast. All you have to do is type in Corner to Copa FFSN. Make sure that notification bell is on. Make sure you're following, and make sure you download those episodes. When we drop content, you'll be able to get a notification and just make sure you're listening and checking this out. Share it, tell a friend, share it, do what you got to do. Like, share, comment, subscribe.
We got some breaking news. We talked about the Texas Rangers and how they've kind of underplayed or played below their expectations. And it appears that they fired their offensive coordinator, which I didn't know that
Wow.
that was a position. I mean, I know there's hitting coaches.
There's hitting coaches. There's offensive coordinators. It's getting more technical, but maybe I don't know. Maybe it's
right.
something.
Yeah. So it says have fired offensive coordinator Donnie Ecker and will address the hitting staff in the coming days. So there's a hitting staff and an offensive coordinator. So maybe the offensive coordinator, he, the base stealing and all that aspect, maybe he's involved in that as well. But yeah, it says the Rangers currently ranked 25th in batting average, 27th in OPS, and 29th in runs. And they've got some talent on that team, so they're definitely playing under, below their expectations. And normally, what happens before you get rid of players is the coaches go. So that is what has happened. So we'll see if that will light a little fire under them as they come to town in a couple of days. But yeah, it's been a good show. We were able to wrap it in 50 minutes. Not bad.
Not bad.
So yes,
and I'm available whenever you need me. If coach needs me to step in for you, I'll do that, and vice versa. So it's all one happy Bleachers to Speakers channel. So that's what we're here for.
This is the Detroit team way.
Even though he's a Philly fan, but
he is a Philly fan. You probably won't see him on any Lions telecast because
I don't want him there. I'll do the show myself before. If you're not available, I'm sorry, Coach. You're the op.
I'm sure he understands, but let's get up out of here.